Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal, thank you very much. Hello there, Pixies! Today I am starting a brand new series, and it's a Harry Potter book club. We're starting off with the Philosopher's Stone, of course, and each week we'll go through each chapter and see what nuggets of magic we can get from it. If you are new to my channel, my name is Rihanna and I post Harry Potter videos every week, so if that interests you, feel free to use that subscribe button and subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Instagram or Twitter if you'd like to as well. But without further ado, I think we should get into the first chapter of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. The opening line of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in the chapter The Boy Who Lived is actually one of my favourite opening lines of anything, really. I, for some reason, can remember it very well. I don't remember the opening lines of any of the other books at all, but this book just, I don't know, I just remember the opening line. It's very memorable, and it shows who the Dursleys are. They're proud of being run-of-the-mill, they're proud of doing everything that everyone else does, and they're proud of conforming. It kind of just shows you who they are, and it hints at the fact that it won't stay that way for very long. Nothing will be normal for long in this book. If you've never read this book before, because, you know, we gotta think of the people who haven't, and spoiler alert, there will be spoilers in this whole thing, but if you haven't read through it before, let's have a summary of the events in this chapter. The Dursleys wake to strange occurrences across the nation and talk of a little baby boy named Harry Potter. We learn Harry is the nephew of Petunia and that she is estranged from her sister. Albus Dumbledore appears at Privet Drive in the night, and we learn that Harry's parents died at the hands of a man called Voldemort, and only baby Harry survived. Rubeus Hagrid brings Harry to live with the Dursleys on Dumbledore's behest. At the beginning of the chapter, there is a specific part of the book where it says that none of them, being the Dursleys, noticed a tawny owl flutter past the window. Bearing in mind this is broad daylight and they don't notice that. It just goes to show again just how oblivious they are. By choice, might I add. So the Dursleys are fully aware of just how much magic exists in this world. They're fully aware that owls do not tend to go out in daylight, and yet they're willfully ignorant of it, and that willful ignoring of the truth makes them dull and kind of boring in contrast to Harry when he grows up a little bit, and his colourful worldview and his outlook on life when he just takes that leap of faith to just believe Hagrid, you know what I mean? It's completely different. Another thing that is one of my favourite things in this chapter, I would say, is Daedalus Diggle. I just want to read out one of my favourite sections, which includes Daedalus Diggle, because he's just funny. I really like him. He didn't seem at all upset at being almost knocked to the ground. On the contrary, his face split into a wide smile, and he said, in a squeaky voice that made passers-by stare, "Don't be sorry, my dear sir, for nothing could upset me today. Rejoice, for you know who has gone at last. Even muggles like yourself should be celebrating this happy, happy day." And the old man hugged Mr. Dursley around the middle and walked off. Just brilliant. Can you just imagine this tiny little guy, like, I don't know, maybe the height of Flitwick, maybe a bit taller than Professor Flitwick, and you've got Mr. Dursley, who's very businesslike, very in control of a situation all the time, and then this guy comes up to him and literally hugs him. Can you imagine the look on his face? I wish that scene had been in the films, because it would have been priceless. I just love it so much. Another thing that I love in this chapter is the conversation between Albus Dumbledore and Minerva McGonagall. I love how well J.K. Rowling set up who these people are. One thing that I really find strange about McGonagall, because I've always seen her as this very in control, very fearless woman, I just find it really strange that she even is scared to say Voldemort's name. she calls him you-know-who, and I just find that odd. I don't know if anyone else finds that odd, but I always have. I love the contrast between the two. She's very much nervous about the situation of Harry and Voldemort, but Dumbledore is completely in control, very calm, very collected, and sort of light-hearted about it, I suppose. Another section that really stands out to me, that is one of my favourite things in all of the book series, just because it was so ironic, is this part. He'll be famous, a legend. I wouldn't be surprised if today was known as Harry Potter Day in future. There will be books written about Harry. Every child in our world will know his name. Come on, come on. Every child in our world will know his name. There'll be books written about him. He'll be famous. Little did J.K. Rowling know. Also, please excuse my terrible Scottish accent. It's just that every time I read these books out loud, I have to do the voices, so I know it's terrible, but forgive me. A lot of people who watch me regularly know that Sirius Black is one of my favourite characters. He's up here too, but he was mentioned in this chapter. Sirius lent his motorbike to Hagrid, and I didn't notice that for years, and then when I did, it was so cool to know that she planned that out too. So that is another favourite thing about this chapter for me, is that Sirius got name dropped. My least favourite thing about this chapter? Honestly, nothing. I think this is one of the best chapters that are in any of the books. It's very well paced, it's direct, you know what's going on, and it's humorous. It's just got so much to offer. I have a lot more notes about this chapter, just personally for myself, and it's just a really good chapter. I'm going to read out a section of this chapter that really stood out to me. I've already read a few today, but this one in particular, it gave me chills rereading it, so here it is. Nothing like this man had ever been seen in Privet Drive. He was tall, thin, and very old, judging by the silver of his hair and beard, which were both long enough to tuck into his belt. He was wearing long robes, a purple cloak which swept the ground, and high-heeled, buckled boots. His blue eyes were light, bright and sparkling behind half-moon spectacles, and his nose was very long and crooked, as though it had been broken at least twice. This man's name was Albus Dumbledore. Can you imagine reading this the first time and not knowing anything about Albus or anything else? No backstory, no forward story, whatever you want to call that. All you know is this description of him. And then think about all that we learn throughout the books about this man. Would that change your perception of him? Because for me, seeing this perception of him, it's weird now that I know everything that happens in Crimes of Grindelwald, everything that happened in his past. I find that fascinating. Let me know if you do as well, because for me, it changed everything reading this again. The last line of the chapter. He couldn't know that at this very moment, people meeting in secret all over the country were holding up their glasses and saying in hushed voices, "To Harry Potter, the boy who lived." Today's question for our first ever episode of this is, who was your favourite character in this chapter? If you want to let me know, you can do so in the comments below, and I will read all of them through and reply to everyone, because I'm always curious about these things. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up if you did, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.